All right, we are live here at the Cars Commerce booth. Thank you to Cars Commerce for sponsoring today's content. If you're watching this online, you're seeing some of this content, it's because our friends at Cars Commerce made it happen. We are here with the one and only Brian Kramer. Try keeping up with him at the NADA show, and you're going to get tired quick.
It's been a wild ride. Really, today's the first day, but this is we've already been warming up, right?
Yeah. Because it's a weekday, I think the warm-up started earlier maybe than it maybe does in the past. We've been all around the show floor already this morning. I think if you didn't catch the live stream this morning, the fact that the droves of people that rolled through the main west entrance was absolutely incredible. The spirits are high here. The flow at every single booth seems it's absolutely packed. You're saying that. I think it's a far cry from New Orleans, but I think we have to talk to Mike Stanton, NADA, to see what it was from the previous Vegas.
My prediction is record,
but definitely record. Yeah,
my prediction is record.
There's a lot more decision makers here this year. Like I think that because they didn't have everybody out of the stores over the weekend. Because I think like when I was in retail, whenever I was saying, they go, "When is this now? It's on a Saturday?" No, we're not doing that. And so I think I'm meeting today a lot more sales managers, GMs.
I didn't think about that.
Operations team members.
More decision makers because it doesn't interfere with the weekend business.
Yeah. So cool. Hey, we're sitting here with Brian. Obviously, coming from the dealership and now with Cars Commerce, you have had a front row seat to seeing not just what dealers care about, but also more globally now, looking at the data, looking at the way that consumers are interacting and the way that dealers are interacting with consumers. What are some of the things you were saying earlier, like the top 5 consumer pain points are something that you're focused uniquely on? Where are you kind of headed and where you see dealers needing to look toward consumers?
Well, I'd say probably the primary thing that we do is remove friction points for dealers, right? And in order to do that, we identify the pain points, from a affordability, sourcing affordable used cars to sell, retailing EVs on the used car side, all the opportunities that everybody's talking about this year, how to merchandise your cars correctly, I would say more importantly than anything, what gives Cars Commerce overall, or Halo and all of our sub-brands, cars.com, Dealer Inspire, Dealer Raider, Dealer Club, and AccuTrade, as we go through that entire portfolio, I would say that the one thing that we do better than anybody else is we build trust. And through our Dealer Rater reviews, and right now that's showing on AI search with the citations on cars.com, that's what's powering all of that.
Let's talk about that a little bit to make sure that people can keep up. When you say that's powering it with citations on AI search, speak to the back of the class.
So there's 3 different kinds of search that are happening today. There's SEO, which we all know, it's been that way forever.
Used cars near me.
Yep, used cars near me. Then you got AEO, which is answer engine optimization. And there's only one. It's like Google AI overviews, right? So there's one answer that's determined. It's checking citations, like Paul just said, and it's basically fact checking what you're saying. So if you say, we appraise your car in 2 minutes, it needs to say in the reviews that's what customers are experiencing. And if it's taking 2 hours,
it's like the world's most powerful BS meter.
Yes. And that's a gating, like an allocation system. If you say you have a 60-minute oil change and everybody's complaining about your oil change is taking 2.5 hours,
it's not going to show you.
You're invisible. And right now, 70% of dealers are invisible in those kinds of searches when you combine in GEO. So you got SEO, AEO, and then GEO is the last one. Generative Engine Optimization, which is ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and that's kind of, and you need to be visible on all of those. But the last 2 specifically are really powered by trust and accuracy.
Yeah, I think the speed of trust is obviously been known for a long time, and when you think about trust, we've been pushed into it as an industry ever since the early '90s in the digitization, and when you start talking about pricing being available online, then dealers having websites, and it's been this progressive push toward trust. I think it's actually something that's great for our industry. We talk a lot about more than cars. It's like, hey, we want it to be an industry that people fight to join. The only way we get there is that we have an extremely trustworthy industry from the consumer perspective, the employee's perspective, and all the dots that get drawn line up, right? And what you're saying is that these dots lining up is more important than ever for people to find out about you, to even be in the interest graph, right?
Yeah, and that's the word, is the interest graph, and all the things that power those graphs that determine who will show up in those searches. It's transforming everything about how consumers buy, and it's really transforming our business, because we now, all of our editorial content and all the things that we've been doing for years is now more powerful than ever, and you can't just buy your way to the top of search anymore. You can for SEM, but that's only, it's less than 50% of the overall searches, and a year ago it was 70%.
This is where the AEO and the GEO is like, you can't fake your way back. You've either been doing the hard work over the years, and people were talking about that when it came to brand and showing up, but now we're seeing the technology catch up with the fact that it can vet brand across channels over time to deliver the user the likely most relevant, credible result.
No, there's a boxing quote. If you cheat on your practice in the dark of the morning, you're going to get found out under the bright lights. And right now, Google, Gemini, and ChatGPT are doing exactly that. So the dealers need to take it more seriously than they ever have, especially on the fixed ops. I mean, really on everything. And I would recommend, when you talk about brand, and you guys are masters of this, the simplicity of a website, how you introduce yourself to the community, taking credit for all the community involvement, but also simplifying the UX, the user experience, and going through it and finding dead links and 404 errors, and all of these things that AI does not like. There's 4 critical ingredients of this algorithmic recipe. It's EEAT. It's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. It's not my algorithm, it's Google's. But that is what everything leads to. And if you're not doing those things, you're not an expert, might not be an authority, and if you don't do those 2 things, it doesn't trust you. So it's not just the trust between the dealer and the consumer, or the vendor and the dealer. It's the trust that you know what you're doing to the algorithm, and there's no emotion there. There's no, oh, hey, we used to be friends, but I used to spend so much money with you. You got to kind of work it out with me. It's just yes or no.
Yes. Well, what's so interesting about that, and I just saw a study done where AI search versus organic versus direct, and all of the other opportunities to get to a website. Right now, currently, AI search is contributing to almost a 2x, 200% lift in conversion rate. Now, the volume.
That's exactly what we're seeing with Carson.
The volume is still low, right? We're still only seeing like 0.05% of traffic contributed to direct AI-generated search clicks, right? But the conversion rate, the trust transfer.
It's enough for a sample.
The trust transfer is already so much higher that if you can acquire more of those customers, you need less of those to get the same number of conversions that you have through traditional channels.
It's such a strong point. And we're seeing that with Carson, which is our AI personality that's embedded within cars.com. And I experienced it recently when I was looking for a car. I traded in I didn't trade it in, I sold my...
You sell that Ineos.
My Ineos to a large public, aggregator of used cars and documented the experience on social media, but and they remove a lot of friction, right? And that's something that dealers need to take really seriously, is compare your experience to that. And one of the things that really left an impression on me is that the person that came in and did my inspection, I said, what do people normally say when they are experiencing this? And he was, well, we're over here where you live in Naples with the old people. They really are blown away. They can't believe how easy it was, and they say that they can't imagine selling their car any other way the next time. That's the real scary thing.
That is
that.
Yes, because you know where to go to get it. Let me ask you one more thing. What you're saying, just to back up before then the last thing, I think about that old saying, like, when's the best time to plant? If you want a mature tree, when's the best time to plant it? 20 years ago, right? When's the second best time? Right now. And so I think for the dealers who haven't been doing the work, or they feel like they're a little bit behind, they have to get on board. They have to partner with people who understand what is going to move them up the rank. Because if you're behind, that's fine, but you have to get in the game. You have to plant. You talked about Carson. What are some of the most interesting things that AI is being used for when it comes to merchandising right now?
Well, when we take a look at photo quality, there's a lot of things that I thought you could never prove, never quantify. Now AI can pull the curtain back. Like, a lot of people use 16:9 aspect ratio, like cinematic photos, and Google doesn't like that.
4x3.
4x3 or 3x2 instead of 16 by 9.
Sometimes 3x2 because of mobile.
Right, that's right. And I didn't know that, but obviously he did. But I wonder how many people don't know that, right?
I didn't know that.
And if you're AEO, there's a series of bullet points that basically these agents and chatbots are going through, or bots are going, which is over half the traffic online, and they're going through, check down, boom, boom. Okay, does this dealer have this? Does it have a 4.3 or 3.2? If it's 16.9, okay, we're not going with that one. Now let's keep going. Do they have the odometer in the images? Is the odometer within 50 miles on some, within 2% on others, of what is listed on the syndication feed, right? Because that's trust, and that's are they an expert? And it's not a big deal if you're not. You're just going to get downgraded, right? Do you have pictures of the VIN plate? Again, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, because there's some people who do duplicate VINs. Do you have it on duplicate, sites, with different URLs appearing like it's two different pieces of inventory? And the biggest one that I've seen recently is damage. Are you pointing out, if you take a look at the top two biggest used car retailers in the United States, take a look at their photos, and you'll see at the end that they're pointing out 3 almost every single time, but at least one scratch, nick, blemish with somebody's finger pointing to it or an arrow.
Damage disclosure.
Because that's trustworthy. It's like, oh, okay, they're being that transparent about it, then there's no surprises. But when you don't have anything like that,
they're like, that car's not perfect, right?
Correct.
We know it.
So you should at least be saying something. And we see, 30 to 40% VDP increase in some cases, most cases, from just that.
Yeah, it's absolutely, merchandising is everything. I'm telling you, I've been saying it for years. Merchandising is the first step in marketing, and if you can get that right, then you can do a lot of other stuff wrong, right? And it's proving itself to be even more true when it comes to AI search and bot crawlers, right? We're talking about these bot crawlers and the millions and millions of crawl events that they're doing.
Humans. Like for the first
significantly more.
Yeah, it surpassed human traffic online, and it's never going back.
Yeah, and it's only going to get even more insane because the number of callers that are out there. I think what some of the stuff that Cloudflare is doing might try and pull some of that back, but
sure.
We can get into the nerd talk later.
The second part of your question is this: with Carson, we're seeing the consumers, in many cases, doubling the conversion rate. It's they're transacting faster, and we're seeing the lead quality skyrocket in terms of their lower funnel. They've already done all the research, and they're more ready to transact.
Wow.
Well, listen, I think we could talk all day, and we'll probably talk offline, and we'll probably talk again and again and again, because the bottom line is this isn't stopping. The velocity is not changing, and the best thing for dealers to do right now is
get on that train.
Plant the tree today, right? So we want to again thank our friends at Cars Commerce. Thank you for joining us. We know if you're watching this, likely you can't be here, and we're going to keep trying to bring as much of the insights and the energy from the show floor to you. Again, we will see you soon.